Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show, the one and only Johnny Dukes, the head basketball coach at the Rancho Verde High School. The Mustangs off to an undefeated start. Great role for the Mustangs to open up the 2023-2024 season. And Coach Dukes, 7-0, a tournament title. What has impressed you the most about your Mustangs so far early on in this young season?
Early on, I think for us is how much these guys have gelled in kind of a short period of time. They are really like playing for each other. This team doesn't have any egos. They just, we ride the hot hand, and whoever has it, everybody else supports it. And we try to keep it going until we figure out who else has the hot hand.
You guys have a tournament title at Beaumont. There's some good teams there. You beat Vista Murrieta in that championship game. And, Coach, I think you posted on social media that was your first tournament title as a head coach. All the success you've had so far at Rancho Verde, but you had not won a tournament yet. Is that correct?
I hadn't won a tournament outside of Section 7, which is the summer, so that doesn't really count. Those wins or losses don't actually go on my resume. But obviously, the big tournament, which is getting to the CIF championship, we were right there a few years ago. But in-season, regular season tournament, we hadn't won one since I've been here, and we actually hadn't won one as a school since I think the 15-16 school year. So it's been a few years.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I see, in fact, I'm going to take a different shot so people can see it at home as well, but I see the runner-up plaque behind you for the 2022 season. What did you learn about that experience being a head coach during that playoff run? What did you learn about yourself at being a coach that you feel like is valuable to make yourself a better coach and help your team maybe make a deeper run this postseason?
I learned a lot that year. First and foremost, I learned that I belong, in the ranks with some of the good coaches here in Southern California. After working for Jerry for a number of years, we were able to find some success winning 2 championships, but you never really know if you could do it on your own until you get on your own. So being a head coach, I learned that, I can still get teams to play hard. And, I was a huge part of what Jerry had going on at Colony. So I was able to bring some of that mojo over here. And, like I said, we made a run. I think I learned more last year, though, with the ups and downs than I did in the year that we actually got to the championship.
Well, Coach, obviously you've got another great squad, but you were kind of telling me tongue-in-cheek off the air that, maybe you guys were flying under the radar a little bit to start the season, but you're 7-0, you have a tournament title. I don't know how long you can fly under the radar and be this good, but you feel like this team, this year's version, maybe something to prove, like a lot of guys stepping in maybe to starting roles or getting more significant minutes. Do you feel like this team has, maybe something to prove for the rest of the world out there?
Yeah, I think last year, we had, because we made the CIF run the previous year, we returned a lot of guys. We had a little bit of expectations. It always helps when you got a 7-footer on your roster. So losing him and then losing our leading scorer, Anthony Smith, I think people didn't think that this train would keep rolling. And we had a pretty good summer, and we've had a pretty good fall. And I do think we've flown under the radar a little bit, but as long as we stay undefeated, I don't know how much longer we're going to be under that radar. And this show definitely isn't going to help. So.
Well, Coach, we talked about, the 7-0 start and what you've liked about your team through the first 7 games. What are some areas that you feel like, man, we're just scratching the surface? We can still get a lot better in these areas.
Offensively, so anybody who knows me knows I'm a defensive guy. And, that's kind of where we hang our hats. But after we lost last year on the road, I think we held the team to I can't remember what that final score was, but it was 30. We held the team to 37 points in their gym or something like that. And we didn't win because we didn't score. No, we had 35 or whatever it was. So it was a super low scoring game. So all summer, I just thought about, okay, I know I'm pretty good defensively. I know we're going to be able to get stops. I want to become a better offensive coach. I want to become better execution-wise. So as much as I hate to do it, and I hang my hat defensively. We've been working on a lot more offense this year, and it's been working out great for us. I think we're executing at a high level right now. We're setting good screens and finding the open guy and making the right reads. So if I think our defense will always keep us in a game until our offense shows up. But when we have our offense and our defense clicking, we are pretty tough to beat. We played Colony in the semifinals the other night, and we were hitting on all cylinders. So we were not only knocking down shots, we were getting stops, and it's just the way we play and the pace that we play at. We're going to get up in you and make things difficult, and then if we can make the right reads offensively, I would almost put us up against anyone.
Yeah, that game was 81-36. That was the Beaumont tournament semifinals, Coach. So you would say that was probably the most complete game for the Mustangs this year on the offensive and defensive ends?
By far, yeah. We were obviously my players got up for me because they knew, that's where I had come from, and I told my players because I hang out with the Colony guys still all the time, so I told them that I don't want to be at the barbecue with them talking about how much they upset us by last year. So, my players, they were focused. They not took it personal because there wasn't any animosity towards each other, but they knew we had to get this one for Coach.
Well, Coach, through the first 7 games, let's do some name dropping. Who have been the guys so far?
Obviously, Jermaine Washington Jr., he's been my point guard for 3 years now.
Was he the tournament MVP at Beaumont?
Yeah, he actually wasn't, so I'm going to get to that. So I lead with him because he's my captain. He's had the keys, to the car for 3 years as far as, leading us, being a point guard, being an extension of the coach. So, and he had a good tournament. He was a all tournament selection, but he kind of rolled his ankle, and he had 2 nights where he was just, he was pretty good, but not the Jermaine we're used to seeing. And I had another guard who has, completely stepped up into his bigger role, and he is playing phenomenal. We call him T. His name is Tristan. He's only a junior. I think he's averaging over 20 points a game right now in the 7 games that we played. But he won the tournament MVP. He has been phenomenal this season.
Coach, let me go back to Jermaine just for a second, because having a point guard in the program for multiple years, what does that mean to the success of a basketball team? Because like you said, he's an extension of you out there on the floor, and to have him in your system for several years in a row now, I'm sure you have the utmost confidence out in Jermaine to be out there on the floor, doing the offense, leading the offense obviously as a point guard, but maybe even setting the tone on the defensive end as well.
I mean, so here's the thing. I believe you can win a championship without a big. You cannot win a championship without good guards. You can find a way without, don't get me wrong. To have one is great, but, the way that the game is played, you can't win without good guards. And I would say Jermaine is one of, if not the best point guard in the state. And obviously I'm a little biased, but I've had this kid for 3 years. He's grown, tremendously over the 3 years that I've had him. He was very quiet. He came in his sophomore year. He was kind of, just getting used to being in that, big role as the leader of a team. But he kind of took a backseat to Kamani Davis that year and kind of let him do his thing. Junior year, he kind of stepped more into a leadership role. He became a captain. And then this year, obviously, he's the guy. So, whenever we need a bucket, whenever we need a stop, whenever, things get tight or get close, I talk to him. What do you see? What do you want to run? We've built that relationship and that trust. So I have full and total trust in Jermaine Washington Jr.
So it sounds like between Jermaine and Tristan, you'd put your backcourt up against anybody out there.
Yeah, but we got another secret. I got another kid that's I think I just found out today he's going to end up being a 30-day sit-out, but he is another one. His name is Jackson Hampton. He's another dynamic guard, athletic, can kind of he played a lot in the fall, and he also was with us in the summer. He goes on 10, 12-0 runs by himself. So when he gets back, I think guard play-wise, we are about as good as it gets outside of the Corona Centennials and the Roosevelts, those powerhouses. But when you take a regular public high school, I don't know if there's better guards out there.
So, Coach, it sounds like the defense will still be there,
Absolutely.
but there's going to be a lot more buckets this year for Rancho Verde. That's what I'm hearing right now.
I think this is the best guard play I've had. When you throw in those three guards I just spoke about, and then you got Mozzie, aka his real name is Leon. We call him Mozzie, but Mozzie Man, he is one of those tough guards. He will go and guard the 4 or the 5 man. When you come down the court, he's gonna just not let you have free will. He might put one in your chest to slow you down. So he's physical, he's tough. He's a really good passer. He has a high IQ. So and then I have a younger guard, also a big guard as well, Caleb Render. So I got 4 or 5 guards in a rotation that are pretty good on any given night. I think we've had 3 guys already score 20, and that's not what I have in Jackson in the rotation yet. So it might get scary.
Are we talking about a 5-guard lineup on the floor maybe at one time?
We absolutely can do that because Mozzie can guard just about anybody. So we can put it. We throw him actually at the 4 and 5 sometimes. Obviously, we don't post him that much at that position, but we can run the offense through him, and he's a good passer. So it actually becomes a benefit to us. So yeah, you will see 5 guards on the floor at any one time with Mozzie and the other 4 guards.
Coach, do you look for players who, I've heard this term before, positionless basketball. You just want basketball players, guys who can, feel comfortable handling the basketball, guys who can shoot, guys who get it, they know how to rebound and box out. They get that part. They can play defense. Are you just looking for basketball players? You don't care if they're 6'4" and you list them as a forward, or you just want guys that are going to go out there and compete?
I want dogs. That's what I'm looking for. I want guys that are going to get after it on a night in, night out basis. And I think I have that. This team is so tough. Like when you watch us and you see us defend, it is really tough to deal with. In fact, I had a ref tell me the other night that he's been around this sport for a very long time and he has never seen a team play as hard and with as much energy as he's seen tonight. So we really get after it. And we talk about dog mentality and, being tough and not letting people go where they want. We talk on defense, we scramble. So we try to put it all together on the defensive end on top of, again, like I said, being a better coach offensively and, bringing Brandon Baker back. He's kind of been helping out with the offense. So, I still got Coach said. So we got a good thing going, and we're going to see how long we can ride this wave.
Load management is a term we hear in the NBA where guys take nights off. But in terms of your guys, because they go so hard out there when they're on the floor, especially on the defensive end, like you said, do you have to be conscious about, maybe how many minutes they get or how deep your bench can go so these guys can get quick breathers? And, so when they're on the floor, they're going 100 miles per hour and they're going nonstop.
Because we are able to go into our bench, we have a pretty solid bench. You play hard for 4, 5, 6 minutes at a time, and then you get pulled out for a breather, and then we don't have much of a drop off. So I've been able to go into the bench a little bit this year, and it's kind of been helping us not have to play guys such heavy minutes. But I know if it comes down to it and we're in a super tight contest and I want those older veteran guys out there, they're able to play, 28, 29 minutes if need be. But of course, I would like to not have to do that. And, I always talk about, you'll hear me yell at my coaches, I got to find Tremaine some rest. I got to find Mozzie a minute or two to rest. So we do a pretty good job with our substitution and our rotation to get guys in, get guys breathers. But if we need to, we are in condition enough, thanks to Coach said, as far as our weight training and track work and bleachers. So they're in shape to do it if we need to, but we'd rather not have to if we don't.
Well, Coach, listen, I always appreciate the conversation, man. Love talking hoops with you. You guys are off to a great start. I got a feeling we're probably going to talk again very, very soon because you guys have a great team and some big tournaments, I think, coming up for you guys as well. And then league play, of course, when we get into the new year. That is Johnny Dukes from the Rancho Verde High School. Coach Dukes, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Pat, man. It's always a pleasure.
Inland Sports.